Here we are on the Bubbly Shawl, and in this video I'm going to show you how to work the 2 rows associated with this bubble. So it's a fun technique. It uses German short rows, and well, this is just 2 rows, if we call it that, and you'll see how you build up these stitches in here. And then I will explain too just how it all kind of comes together. So we're going to work the short rows, and then I'll show you how to resolve the short rows. And I am here on bubble row 2 on page 3 of the pattern, and we will work this row 1 and row 2. So I am using my second contrasting color, and you just leave the main color attached because it can just wait and be carried up the side as we go. So let's get my needle and my yarn, and we'll get this started with my second contrasting color. Okay, so we knit 1, yarn over. I'm just going to follow the row exactly as it's written here in the pattern. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 3. So I've knit 1, yarn over, knitted 1, 2, and 3. And now it says to bubble. So bubble actually is this. We're going to work this row under special stitches bubble. We're going to work this. We're going to work this bubble section whenever it says bubble on this row. So we'll get started here. And for visual purposes, I am going to put a stitch marker here, just so you can see the start of this bubble. So it says knit 11. So we just go across. (10) and 11, and I always like to make sure, which is a nice reason to have that extra marker there. 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay, so I've knit 11, and now it says turn. So we're actually going to turn the work over. Now it says double stitch, DS. And if we go to the stitch glossary, a DS is worked with the yarn in front, slip 1 stitch purlwise to the right hand needle, pull the working yarn to the back over the top of the right hand needle, pulling the legs of the stitch of the slip stitch, forming an upside down V or double stitch. So to work that DS, we just simply, our yarn is in the front here because we had knitted that stitch. So now we just slip this to the right hand needle, and we take the yarn up and over the back, and we formed an upside down V that creates 2 legs on that stitch. And now we continue on, knit 10. So this is going to take us back to our starting place, this knit 10. And then we turn, so we rotate our work back, and then we DS, which is with the yarn in front. As you can see, it's hanging to the front of the work. You slip the stitch purlwise, and then you take that yarn over the back, and then we knit back. It says knit 9. So we knit 9. And now we're going to do the same. Turn. Whoop. And our yarn is coming from the front. So we slip that stitch purlwise for the DS and hold the yarn to the back. And then we will knit 8 on the way back. And you'll see now as we get back and we finish this 8th stitch, we are looking here at that first DS, and you can see it kind of looks like a mistake stitch, but it's that upside down V. So then we know we've knit our 8 and we turn the work and we slip this stitch for the DS with the yarn in back. Then we just tug it over and we knit 7. And you can see as we're knitting these, we're getting right to the DS, right as the end of our stitch count happens. So now we turn the work, DS, slip that stitch, and now we knit 6. There we are. Now we turn the work, and we DS, and we knit 5. And then we turn our work, we DS, and this one is our last one. It says knit 4, 3, 4, and then it says turn. And now it says DS one more time, and that is the end of this bubble row. Knit 4, turn, DS. So make sure you do that. And that is going to complete our first bubble in this row. Now it says knit 13, resolving double stitches as encountered. And to resolve the double stitch, it says here, resolving a DS, work the 2 legs of the DS, the upside down V, like a knit 2 together. So that is what we're going to do. And here we go. So we're going to knit 13. So from this last DS, we're going to work 13 stitches this way. And these DS stitches that we can see that are like those upside down V's, those are counting as 1. We're going to basically put the needle in and like knit those 2 legs together. So here we go. And that is called resolving them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, now you can see we've kind of worked across. We have these stitches, these DS stitches are still present, which is fine. And now we're here. We've worked our 13, and our instructions say to bubble again. So I'm going to rework these, and I'll put another stitch marker right here. And this stitch marker isn't necessary. It's not listed in the instructions. It's just a visual for this video, but it's not a bad idea either if you've never worked a a short row situation like this, because then you can, we're working across to our 11, and you can kind of be assured that you're working within the parameters of, like, you're working the right number of stitches in the right place. So now I've knit my 11, and then I turn and DS, and then I knit 10, and there we know we've gotten to 10. I have that marker there. So now I'm going to turn and I DS and I knit 9 back. And you can also get a feel for how things are working out, because you're doing an odd number of stitches on when you have the right side of your work facing, and when you go back the other way, you're always working an odd number of stitches on this side, or an even number, excuse me. We're at 8 now. Then we turn, we do our DS, then we go back. So you can see it's just you're working the same stitches, and we're sort of working one less every row, and that way you're building up on that little we're building stitches on top of stitches, and that is what's making those cool bubbles in this design. And now we are at the last set here. So this is our knit 4, and you can see we've used up all the regular stitches and got back to a DS. And then we turn, one last DS, and that completes the second bubble. So we have 2 bubbles now in our row, and we can come back over here. We just work this bubble. Now we knit 10, resolving DS as we encounter them. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3, and now when we work that, resolve that DS, we're putting our needle in like it's a knit 2 together. And you kind of knit them together. So where are we at? 1, 2, so that was 4. So if you're ever unsure about, is it this leg? No, that's going to make a big hole. Is it in here? No, that's kind of crazy. So you just want to make sure you're getting kind of like a knit 2 together, and your needles are touching. There's not another piece of yarn tangled in there. So you're just gently picking up that double leg, and then you're working those regular stitches as you normally would. And now we've reached our center spine, and we work that. This is the slip 2 remove marker, knit 1, pass the slip stitches over, place marker. So this is slip 2, and the slip 2 is together. You remove the marker, knit 1, scoop up those 2 slip stitches in one unit, slip them over and off, kind of like a bind off, and then you put your center marker back on. And then it tells us to knit 3. So you can see how it's going. Made 2 bubbles, done my center spine stitch, and now we're going to make the other 2 bubbles on the other side. So you can place another marker here if you want, and you can see whenever I'm placing these sort of short row markers for myself, they're distinctly different than my center spine marker. So I'm going to take these short row markers off when we go back the other way. So I'm just going to work this bubble, and you know, it's kind of fun. It seems like a lot, like the flipping back and forth, but there's so little that it just kind of goes fast. I like it's just a fun little swapping back and forth. So we turn and we do our DS, and then we knit 10. And we turn, we slip, and we do our DS. And the nice thing about double stitch on garter like this is it kind of just disappears. And I think that is the nice thing about German short rows as well too. It's just a little tidier of a look, in my opinion. I know some people go for the wrap and turn, but I've got a tangle in my yarn. Okay. This is a fun collaboration project between the designer and me. Meaghan Schmaltz and I do a lot of different projects together, and this is the type of shawl that I would never think to make. I'm not a great short row designer. I haven't designed many projects that use short rows outside of like a pair of socks or something like that. So I just think this is such a cool technique, and I'm just really happy that I get to work with designers that come up with totally different ideas using my yarn. So super fun. And even the color combination that she put together here, so just unique and pretty. And I can't wait to see how it's going to come out with my colors. This is mocha and chocolate and vanilla, and then my third color is this cotton candy. I think it's going to be so pretty. Anyway, I digress. Bubble, knit 13. Okay, so I've, knit 1 of that. So 2, 3, 4. So if you need to count now from here, just to make sure you have your 13, you look for that last double stitch there and then count the regular stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Okay, so now it's time for me to get bubbling again. So let's put a marker on and we'll make our last bubble here, and then I will show you on the next row how we work back and resolve those stitches and all of that, and it's nice and tidy, like nothing ever happened, which is it's so crazy to me how it sort of like levels itself out into a big like smooth piece of fabric. It's so cool. Like I said, I'm not much of a short row designer myself, so when I get to do one, it's super fun, and yeah, I just love what Meaghan came up with here, and I could not wait to get this on my needles myself. Okay, and then we're just finishing up on our last bubble. We DS, knit 4, turn, oh, I don't want to lose a stitch, and then we do our last DS according to the bubble stitch, and then knit to the last stitch, resolving DSs as encountered, yarn over, knit 1. Three. So we just work to the end of the row, making sure we get those DS stitches all together. And then we have our last couple here, and then we do the old yarn over, knit 1, just like we have on every row. And now, okay, here we are. Row 2, wrong side. Knit 1, yarn over, knit to marker, resolving DS as encountered. Slip marker, purl 1, knit to last stitch, resolving DS as encountered, yarn over, knit 1. 2 stitches increase. Just like every other wrong side row, like in the garter stitch sections. So here we go, let's do it. So we knit 1, yarn over, and then we knit to marker, resolving DS as encountered. Now, because we met those DSs on the previous row, you can see here that some of these stitches have like 2 loops, and it does kind of look like a knit 2 together on that. And that's the way those were the DS stitches, and that's how they look. And then we get back here to some regular knit stitches and we work them normally. And now here we are getting to those DS stitches at the beginning of our bubbles. And so we do these. This is where we just sort of knit those 2 legs together as though they were 1 stitch. Okay, and then we get to, this was my temporary marker because of just showing. So it has nothing to do on the shawl anymore, so I can take it off until I hit another bubble row if I want to use it again. And so now we just keep knitting along. You can see here's our resolved DS stitches again on this side of the bubble. Then we hit our regular stitches at the top of the bubble. Now we get to those DS stitches on the downside of the bubble. And we knit them together. There we are. And then there's my extra marker. It can go away. Now I am approaching my center spine marker. So here it is, and now you you slip the marker, purl 1 stitch. There's my purl, and then we continue knitting. And we just knit right on across this bubble, and where we're going to get to our DS from that first half. So there they are. Temporary marker. So you can see how the bubbles kind of add more layers, but we haven't added any, it's not like we had to add a bunch of stitches to our needle and then decrease a bunch of stitches. It was just the simple, like, pull your yarn up and over, and that's what helps connect the lower row to the row you're working so that it can be connected and not have holes. So here we are, we're at the end of the row, we knit 1, well, we yarn over and knit the last one. Oh, shiza. Nope, you don't drop that last stitch. Okay, wait, I yarned over too early because I missed my last stitch because it was all tangled. So there's my yarn over, and this is where my mistake happened because this stitch came out because of the way I had it tangled. This is a wow, Heather. Anyway, okay, there. Sheesh. Now, one thing I always do, oh boy, this is okay. Well, I'll go back and fix that. You don't need to wow, I got something going on there. Well, what the heck? Let's fix it. Because I'm probably not the only one who's going to make a mistake. So normally at the beginning of a row, I would just tie a quick knot between the contrasting color and the, oh, that's what I did. I would tie a quick knot between the contrasting color and the main color, but I didn't because I just wanted to get started. And there's what happened. Now, there you go. So there is the second row of bubbles, and that is how you work those little short rows. Now we just cut, let's see, I don't see a pair of scissors. Here we are. We cut our contrasting color. It says, so at the end, so it tells you every section here, do not break main color. But then it says join and use contrasting color too. Leave main color hanging at the beginning of the row. Then here at the end, it says break contrasting color. So I did. So I'm free of the vanilla now. And you can see it's just two ends, and we'll weave those in. And the main color is here to get knitted. And now we move on to Garter Goodness 3. And I love how it tells you the stitch breakdown. 54 stitches before your center spine marker and 53 after. And then I move on to bubble row 3, and I get to use a contrasting color again. So that is pretty exciting. So that is how to work a bubble row on our shawl. So I hope you have fun. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment down below. And yeah, if you want to try some UU yarn, go ahead and click the link for that. And this is called the Bubble Shawl, designed by Meaghan Schmaltz for UU Yarns. So I hope you'll make it. It's super fun. And I'll be sure to show mine when it's all finished. Happy knitting.